Right. Welcome, 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 everybody. My thought for you tonight is on practicing acknowledging that it's just you and you in your practice. There's nothing else, right? As much as we look for all of these other focal points and we try to bring in this concept that there is this universal something that we're moving into, it's just you. It's just you and you. So as big as that feels, and maybe as far away as that feels, is the practice is always as close as the breath that you're actually in, right? And what we struggle with sometimes is being in that connection of that it really is just me, is that I'm not practicing to get away from me, beyond me. I'm practicing to really become me, right? Be fully connected with who I am, not just who I think I am, right? So that is the practice, and it's a breath by breath thing, and it doesn't always feel happy in the moment that it's occurring, or it doesn't always feel happy breath to breath. But what we cultivate is less of that reaching for what makes us happy, what we think is going to make us happy. And instead we reach for where there's a place of acceptance. And the acceptance is feeling everything that's really there and finding a friendliness towards it, right? And when that friendliness is what we start to develop, what we call contentment, santosha, where we're not looking to get away and we're not looking to try to change, but we're actually in that full state where everything is just as it is. And we relax, right? But it's always just you and you. So everywhere that there's that instinct to try and practice with the purpose to get away from you, is just let that sit to the side. And instead practice breath by breath. I'm learning to become myself fully. Let your eyes close. And if that sounds like the worst idea for the evening, you're like, that's not what I came for. Totally acknowledge that. Right? We practice so often to try and get away, or to think that we're going to create ourselves into some vision other than what we are. So instead, bring a vision of yourself, mirror image into your mind. Whatever your mind automatically comes up with, your flaws, your imperfections, all the things that it starts picking apart and says, I'm not sure I like this or like that. And can you start to be friends with that image? Extend friendliness. That's okay. Find a spot. It is guaranteed that when you try to walk into class quietly, you will be louder than you've ever been. Don't sweat it. Just find yourself coming back to that inner quiet where, again, you accept whatever is there. Part of meditation, right? There's noise going on. It's part of your meditation. There's a roiling mass of emotion inside of you. Part of your meditation. There's the desire to get up and run and never meditate again. Part of your meditation. So just pause with that feeling of there's nowhere to run. It's just me and me. Can I be friends with that self I see in my mind? And if friends is too much, can I at least be neutral? That this is the connection you hold through the entire practice. Can I stay in this state of friendship with myself? Or at least, can I be neutral? Can I let go of the judgment of what is there or isn't there? One more deep breath in. As you exhale, release the breath, bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. We'll open with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Om. Let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands, please. And then just bring your hands to your knees or your thighs and start to circle your torso. Nice little spirals. Or nice big spirals. Try not to do mean spirals, just nice ones. I'm going to attempt this music here. We'll see how this works. Hopefully it doesn't get weird. Good. Move yourself the other direction, please. Part of this we call the spiraling in Kundalini yoga. A lot it's suggested that that spiraling is that you're spiraling in. You're not just moving the outside body, but you're drawing the attention inward, 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 inward. It's not a static drawing in because we don't want to have that feeling of plummeting into ourselves, but it's that rotation that you're gently moving yourself in. Then come back to stillness, please. Good. Take your feet out in front of you, knees bent, and bring your feet as wide as your mat. Good. You can scoot forward a little bit so you're more towards the front edge of your mat. And then let your knees start to rock from side to side, so from the right to the left. Good. Nice, you guys. And then the next time your knees drop to the right, let them stay there. Knees drop all the way. And then walk yourself around same direction to the right so you face the back of your mat. If you have a bolster handy here and you want to use it up against your hip, you are welcome to do that. Otherwise, you can just come onto your forearms long ways. So there you go. Yep, vertical. Perfect. Mm-hmm. But if not, again, you can be on your forearms, just facing the back of your mat. You got it. Yep. Perfect. Breathe into your side ribs. We often say to focus on the breath, but not just focusing on the act of breathing, but letting your breath be something that brings you into connection to yourself, that you're actually breathing and feeling what the body is feeling. You're breathing and you're actually touching what the mind is going through. Letting the out breath move out into the world, but knowing that the in breath is that connection back home, back to the center. And as far as the out breath can go, is you always comes back to the center. Wherever you think you can run, you're always going to come back to you. Take one more breath. And slowly start to release, bringing yourself all the way back to where you started. So coming back to sit towards the top of your mat. Good. Plant your feet hips width apart. Take your hands just back behind you, fingers pointing towards your heels. Good. And then press into your feet, press into your hands, lift your hips up off the floor, coming into a reverse table. And again, feeling it not be a position that you're pushing into and trying to hold, but that you're actually breathing up into. Good. One more breath. Keep your weight in your heels. And then release the hips all the way back down to the floor. Separate your feet as wide as your mat again. Let your knees drop to the left. And then walk yourself around again, same direction till you face the back of your mat. Again, if you have a bolster and you want to place it up against your hip lengthwise, so long with your spine, go for that. Otherwise, resting on the forearms. Let your head be at a neutral angle with your spine. There you go. And stay with the thread of your breath. There's nothing to change. I'm looking for a feeling of acceptance of whatever is here and whatever is not here. There's no value on whether your feelings are happy ones or positive ones, or if they seem like they're more negative or challenging. You get to be yourself 100% when there is acceptance of all experiences. Take one more full breath again into the side ribs. And then slowly release, bringing yourself all the way back to sit where you began. Good. Letting the legs stretch out wide. And pausing for a moment, letting if you need a blanket underneath your seat, use that, but take your hands back behind you. So you lean back onto your hands, letting the chest lift nice and high, dropping through the groins, dropping through the sit bones, legs nice and wide, straddle. There you go. Good. More full breath as you lean back, drop into your sit bones. And then walk yourself all the way back up to upright. Keep the left leg extended, bend your right knee, bring the heel in towards your groin. And let the knee go wide. So again, you're sitting in the half straddle. Then you're walking your left hand out towards your left heel. So inside the leg. Good. And then again, if you want to prop underneath that forearm, you can place it there. So you want to be able to drop into that elbow, bend the elbow. So you can place a bolster inside the leg. You can place a block there. Good. So it's the left arm that you're supporting. Yep. Right arm is going to come over the ear. And so the little trick here is that if you have that left arm underneath you, is you can bend that elbow, hold the hand up, and be a little kickstand for that right arm. Yeah, because you want yourself to be able to drop low. You got it. Yeah, that works, Jessica. And again, if having that right arm over the ear doesn't feel like it's sustainable, you can place it somewhere else. Nice. Remember, you find the position and you breathe yourself spiraling in deeper. So it's not the outside feelings. You're letting yourself go layer by layer deeper in. You're letting that right hip stay heavy. Remember, it's just you and you. The only one who is watching this inner experience is you. The only one who is able to really understand it is you. So put no walls, no boundaries on what you are willing to feel and see and be. I know you're almost there. You got 30 seconds. Don't start counting down. Remember that there's an end to everything. There's a dissolving to everything. Slowly start to come out, bringing yourself all the way back up to center. Good. Bring your left hand to your outer right knee, please. Right hand comes back behind you. A gentle spinal twist. So just letting your ribs turn to the side, dropping through that left butt cheek. And then keeping the left hand at the knee, take your right hand up off of the floor. Good. And again, keeping that left hand anchored, lean towards that left thigh. So again, same stretch that you were just in. A little bit more active. Good. Draw the low rib cage in, press into your seat. You got it. And then slowly unwind back up to center. Walk your hands straight forward in front of you. Good. Keeping the right knee bent if you can. If not, legs out is perfect. One more breath. Feel your seat get heavier. Love it if you bend the knees to try and make it so that your back can release. And then slowly round yourself all the way back up. So again, you feel your spine. You're not just pulling yourself out of the pose, but you're breathing up out of the pose. And then start to extend the right leg out wide to the right. Bend the left knee. Bring the heel in towards the groin. Again, you can support that knee any way that you need. If you need to place a prop underneath it, make sure you have it. And then you're bringing your right arm inside the right shin. And you can use a block or a bolster underneath that forearm. Walking out towards the heel, letting that right forearm or elbow rest on your prop. Take the left arm over the ear. And again, you can always use that right arm to either prop up the arm or your head. You can always place your head actually onto that right hand. Good. And the left arm, if it can't comfortably or reasonably stay over the ears, you can place it at your hip. For me, choosing this pose very specifically in the beginning because it's a place where I find that it's hard for us to escape sensation. It's a part of the body that no matter how flexible you are, as you probably feel this. It might not be a pretty sensation. You keep letting yourself spiral in and in and in. And it said sometimes, that you're building tolerance for this sensation or tolerance for this practice, but what you're building tolerance for is your own self. Can you handle your own irritation? Can you be friends with your own desire to give up, run away? In yin poses, do you find yourself remembering things that you don't want to remember? As you get quieter, that's what happens in meditation or anywhere else, is what's deeply buried starts to arise. Can you see it and be friends with it, or see it and be neutral? We don't have so many walls that define what we can be and what we can't be. And that's not for anyone else, it's just for you. Inside, you get to live with fewer walls. Your last deep breath. And then slowly start to bring yourself back to upright. Your right hand reach for your outer left knee. Left fingertips come back behind you. Sitting nice and tall, so don't let that right sit bone come up off the floor. Keep it rooted. And twisting to the left. And then keep the right hand where it is. Take the left arm up alongside your ear and lean over that right leg again. Then drawing the rib cage in, keeping your sit bones pressing down to the floor. Good, and then release, coming all the way back up. Don't change the legs, just walk your hands straight ahead. Just noticing how long it takes before your mind stops looking for a way to make this pose feel the way that you want it to feel. And actually just starts agreeing to feel the way that it does feel. That there is entirely acceptance for saying, I don't like this pose. And you can still be settled. Walk yourself all the way back up. Good. Moving the props out from in front of you. Come forward onto hands and knees. Do just a little bit of cat and cow. So letting your spine move, inhaling, lifting the chest and the tail, and exhaling, curling and rounding. Make it a real exploration of your spine, that as you're inhaling, you're not just trying to find where is the biggest back bend. You're trying to stretch your spine long. And then as you exhale, same thing, as you're trying to articulate each vertebra so you can actually feel the spaces in between them. And move between those 2 points like a wave. There's no distinct cat, no distinct cow, but there's just the movement between this long extension one direction and the long extension the other direction. Good. And then slowly let yourself come back to stillness, letting your movements get smaller and smaller and smaller. Nice. And then slowly walk yourself forward so you can come all the way down onto your belly. Coming up onto your forearms. So you're turning your forearms so that they are parallel towards your mat, and you're bringing your elbows in line with each other. So the right arm is going to be in front, furthest away from you. So the left elbow is in close, and you're planting your elbows in line with each other. So your arms are very deeply crossed. So Dana, take your arms crossed a little bit more, elbows in line. Oh. There you go. And then you're letting yourself drop your chin forward onto your forearms or onto a block. Again, you could place a block underneath your head. And the feet can go a little wider behind you if the lower back needs a little bit more space. Make sure you can breathe in this position. And again, you can use props underneath the head as necessary. That deep cross of the arms that helps to bring an awareness to the upper back, behind the heart. All the things that exist behind our desires for what we like and what we don't like, what we want, what we don't want. The heart center, the heart chakra is about our interconnectedness. If we feel disconnected from ourselves or from others, it's normal, it's common. Can you feel what is behind that disconnection? Because that's the key to bringing you back to being truly connected. That fundamental relationship of you with you is what everything else is based on. You can imagine at the heart center, or even at the back of the heart, you say like a flame. Jiva Atman lives at the heart center. So with your breath, can you fan that flame so that everything that you are starts to emanate from you, even if you have no idea that it's in you? If that's too weird, then just breathe really deep into the back of your heart. One more full deep breath. And then slowly begin to unwind the arms, bringing the forearms out in front of you. Good. Let your hands go just a little bit wider on your mat. Let your feet go wider behind you. Good. So you can even turn the arms slightly outward here. So the arms go slightly out, elbows slightly in. You're coming into seal. So pressing into your hands, any amount here, start to straighten the arms. Lifting the belly up off of the floor. And again, staying on forearms feels like it's more appropriate. Stay there. You're not holding for long. You want to feel the arms up into the shoulders. Again, breathing into that back of the heart. And compression low in the spine is great for the bladder, kidneys. The organs that are associated with our fears, our doubts, the reasons that we run. Slowly release back down onto your elbows. Make a pillow with your hands. Rest your forehead forward onto your hands, elbows wide. Breathe consciously as a 3-part breath on your belly. So feel yourself breathing into the abdomen, pressing into the floor, into your middle ribs, into your upper chest. And then a full exhale from the top all the way down. And keep breathing like that, inhaling into the base, lowest part of your spine, rib cage, middle part, chest and back, upper part. That you're not breathing into nothing here as you're breathing into the floor. You're breathing into the back of the body. Breathe that infinite space. It's not you becoming that, it's you realizing you are that. So whatever is out there that you're seeking with every breath, you bring it in. Spiral it in. One more full deep breath into the low abdomen, middle ribs, upper chest. And a full exhale, release. Walk yourself back up onto your forearms, please. So you're taking the other arm in front. So left arm in front of right. So it should be the furthest away from you. Elbows in line with each other. And then you're resting your chin forward onto the hands or forehead onto a block. And again, you don't want your arms so far out in front of you that you're only able to rest your forehead on them. You want them kind of right underneath your chest. Yeah, so you can really cross them deep. There you go. And again, feet can go wider here if the low back needs a little bit of space. Inside yourself, you have the opportunity to dissolve. Not for anyone else's benefit, but yours. And part of what we dissolve is that feeling that we're supposed to have other thoughts or other emotions than are what are present. Keep your breath moving as deeply as it can. I know there's a point in every yin pose where it's not fun anymore. Sometimes it's from the first 3 seconds, it's not fun anymore. So hang in there with yourself. It sometimes takes a while in this sort of practice to stop trying to run away. Or to just accept that there's nowhere to run anyway. You can come out of the pose, but you can't run away from yourself. Remind yourself that this too will dissolve. And take one more full deep breath into the back body. And slowly release that breath, and letting yourself come back to bringing your forearms in front of you. Staying in Sphinx pose for another couple of breaths so your feet can be wide. You're staying up on your forearms. And doing some sitali breathings. That's where you inhale through a curled tongue or an O-shaped mouth. So you stick out your tongue. And then close the mouth, exhale out through your nose. And inhaling again through the curled tongue. Close the mouth, exhale through the nose. And so if the tongue cannot curl, just an O-shaped mouth. And sitali breath is a cooling breath. It's great for a day in the 90s. Great for when internally we feel too hot, too agitated, too bothered. Great for if you have an aversion to looking weird and sticking your tongue out. Practice this. What we're practicing is to not have an aversion to ourselves. Your last full deep breath in. And full deep breath out. And relax the chest down to the floor. Again, making a pillow with your hands. Let your elbows go wide. Call it a belly shavasana. Letting yourself breathe into the quiet darkness. With no direction, just notice where your mind has run to. And start to bring it back to the feeling of your breath. Connection to right here, right now, this body, this mind. Not where it's going to be in 5 minutes, but where it is now. And walk yourself back to where your hands are underneath your rib cage. Press up to hands and knees. Let your knees go nice and wide. If you have a bolster here and you want to bring it in front of you, so between the knees, vertical. So you can take your child's pose on the bolster, or you can simply come into child's pose. The arms can be out in front of you straight, or you can place a block underneath the forehead. You can have the elbows bent. And if the knees need some support, a rolled blanket behind the knee crease can be really great. Really be in child's pose. If you've never tried to actually fall asleep in this position, try it now. In every position we come into, we give a laundry list of this is what it does, or this is energetically what's happening, anatomically, this is what's happening. Those are all the things that we're looking for. Pose is going to fix this, it's going to change that. All it does is give you another chance to see yourself. It's just you and you. That is the beauty of the practice, is that there is no one to please except you. No one to practice for except you. You make peace with you, and you make peace with the entirety of existence. One more deep breath into the lower spine. And then as you release, walk your hands all the way back up. Come to sit with your legs out in front of you. I'm setting up for fire log, so whatever props you need, you might need some blankets or blocks. So you are stacking the shins in front of you. So instead of the ankles crossing, you're placing, let's put the left leg on the bottom, right leg on top, stacking ankle on top of knee, so right ankle on top of left knee. You can use a prop underneath your butt if you need. You can use props underneath the knees. You can have your feet slightly wider, so the heel into the knee crease instead of on top of the knee. Good. And if it's truly not working for the body to have the shins stacked, is you can place the right shin in front of the left. And again, you can use props underneath the knees. And then either stay right where you are or let yourself walk forward into a forward fold. Good. Yeah, you can make a little tower with your blocks to rest your head on. That's awesome. Keep your feet flexed. This is one of those poses where, again, you don't want to ignore. There being a subtle activity to the feet. It is not a bad thing to find those intense edges in yourself. It's breath by breath. You can always change a pose. You can always adjust. Be here just to feel what there is to feel instead of looking for it to feel good or bad. One more full deep breath. And slowly start to walk yourself all the way back up. Good. Slide your left heel, that's a bottom heel, towards your right butt cheek a little more. And then cross that right foot over to the outside of your left thigh, pointing that knee up towards the ceiling. So you're coming into a twist. And again, you can wrap that left arm around the right knee, right fingertips come back behind you, turn the belly towards the thigh. Keep that right butt cheek on the floor. Good. Try to stay forward towards the front edge of your pelvis. That's it. Nice, you guys. And then slowly release and unwind. Keep the legs as they are. Take your hands to the outside of your left hip. So both hands to the outside of the left hip. Just turning the opposite direction, dropping your right butt cheek down to the floor. And then slowly come back to center again, unwinding the legs, take them out in front of you, plant the feet. Take your hands behind you, fingers pointing towards your heels, press into your feet, press into your hands, lift your hips. Good, feeling the back of the heart lift, press into the feet. And then slowly release the hips back down to the floor. And start to set up fire log on the other side. So right leg is going to be on the bottom, left leg stacks on top. Again, left heel or left ankle on top of right knee. Or you can bring the heel into the knee crease. The knees go a little wider. And again, use as many props as you need underneath the knees. You can always have left shin in front of right if stacking the legs does not work. And then either stay here upright or walk yourself forward, take a forward fold. Again, you can make a tower with your blocks to rest your head or let yourself just rest on your hands. In the Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse talking about doing fire ceremony, a sacrifice. And that's what this pose is named for, right? Agni Stambhasana is fire log. In the verse, it says that the fire itself is Brahman, so God, the divine, whatever you want to call it, universal. It says, and the fuel for the fire is Brahman. And the practitioner who is doing the fire ceremony is Brahman. And the offerings that are given into the fire is Brahman. The fire itself is Brahman. And the smoke and the wishes and the desires that are being given through that ceremony are Brahman. And the energy that is receiving those prayers is Brahman. It's God using God to make prayers and wishes and desires to God who answers as God. There's just you. That cosmic self, that divine energy it's you. It is this body, it is this mind. There is nowhere to run. There is nowhere else to experience that except right here. And it starts with, can I be friends with my own self, my own perception of who I am? Can I see that reflection in my mind and know that it is divine, perfection, missing nothing? And that the thought, I don't like this or that, doesn't change that at all. Take one last deep breath in. As you exhale, slowly unwind yourself, coming all the way back up. Bringing that right heel a little closer towards your left sit bone. Take your left ankle to the outside of your right thigh, foot flat to the floor, knee pointing up. Good, so you should still feel both sit bones on the floor. And then your right arm wraps around the left knee, left hand comes back behind you, turn the belly towards the thigh. Got it. And the more you draw that thigh up in towards your belly and drop that sit bone as you get that counter stretch on the hip and the thigh, opposite to what you just did. And then don't change the legs, but bring yourself back to center. Start to twist the other way, taking both hands to the outside of the right hip. And slowly releasing the twist, coming back to center. Unwind your legs, please. Stretch them out in front of you. So let the legs be straight. Good. And then just let yourself fold forward, hang forward. So don't even worry about the feet. Legs can be slightly separated if you'd like. Let yourself walk forward and hang, curl. And again, if the weight of the head needs something underneath it, place your blocks there. You're not here for long, so don't make yourself crazy. Famous last words. Good, no reaching for anything. No feet, no legs, no floor. Relax the shoulders. Stop trying so hard. And slowly bring yourself all the way back up. Nice, you guys. So move your props from underneath you. Turn yourself around. So you guys who are in the room, turn around so that you can come to lay on your backs with your feet on the wall, legs 90 degrees. So your feet are on the wall, bent 90 degrees. If you have a wall, Harriet, that you can get to and you want to do that, go for it. But if not, then just come onto your back. So feet on the wall, shins parallel to the floor, knees bent at 90 degrees. Good. So I would scoot back a little bit, Jessica. Scoot back just a little bit. Good. So you can feel that you can gently press your feet into the wall. Little connection there. Then keep your left foot where it is. Take your right ankle on top of your left thigh. Good. And then drop that left side sacrum down to the floor. Good. So don't worry about letting that right knee go really far open. Keep your pelvis level on the floor, right and left side. You can press that left foot into the wall like you're trying to actually push your tailbone to the wall. To the wall and down to the floor. And that's it. You're just trying to give the opportunity for your low back to lengthen enough, for your thigh creases to soften enough. Your tail can pull towards the wall and down to the floor. Last breath there, trying to find that gentle engagement of the low belly to draw the back down. Then keep the ankle stacked. Draw your left foot up off the wall. Pull the knees in towards your chest. You can reach through to hold your left thigh if you'd like. So the right hand goes between the legs. There you go. Relax the shoulders, just drawing the legs in and still trying to keep that lowest part of your sacrum down on the floor. So relax the shoulders, relax the shoulders, relax the shoulders. Good. And then slowly release, please. Good. Stepping your right foot to the wall. Again, finding that 90-degree angle, taking the left ankle over top of the right thigh. And again, just trying to find the balance in the pelvis where both sides are finding their way to the floor. Like you're drawing your tailbone towards the wall and then down to the floor. Remember that each breath is an opportunity to reconnect, stay connected. The less effort we put into trying to make things look or feel a certain way, the easier it is to let things be as they are, and then to find the way that they can dissolve as they dissolve. Hold your pose, but don't hold your mind stuck in the same place. Last breath with the foot pressing into the wall, pulling the tail towards the wall, and then bring the foot off of the wall, reach through to hold the right thigh if you'd like, and then draw the knees in towards the chest, so draw her in towards the belly. Good, absolutely, you can flex that left foot so the knee feels like it's got some support. Good, and slowly release, please, drawing the knees in towards the chest, unwind the ankle. Pull both knees in. Good. And scoot your hips over to the left, let your knees drop to the right. Spinal twist. And bring the knees back up towards center, move the hips over to the right, drop the knees to the left. And slowly come back to center again, hugging the knees in towards the chest, letting yourself rock forward and back, side to side. And then slowly coming back to stillness. Your choice for your Shavasana experience is, if you would like to, since you have the wall there, take your Shavasana as legs up the wall. You're welcome to do that. You just have to turn to your side, scoot your hip all the way up to the wall, stretch the legs straight up. If that does not sound like what you'd like to do, is you can stay laying on your bolster. So the bolster underneath your back, open lengthwise. You can even come into that position with your legs in Baddha Konasana. You can also choose to do your Shavasana with nothing at all and just simply finding yourself lying on your mat, palms facing up. So your choice. So if legs up the wall feels like a great idea, go there. If you want to lay back on your bolster, do that. You have some other brilliant variation for yourself. Come into Shavasana that is for you. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. Your body begin to stretch and move. Drawing the feet down the wall, knees in towards your chest. If you've been in legs up the wall, pausing there. And then rolling slowly to your right side. And take a moment before you begin to push the floor away. Bring yourself back up to an upright seated position. Letting the hands come to rest, palm to palm at the heart. Yoga promises, or it says that what we're capable of is this experience of being absorbed into that perfectness, the infiniteness, where there are no conditions, there's no walls, there's no boundaries, everything is just complete. And so how do we learn to experience that through our minds that do the opposite of that every day? It's how do we learn to tolerate infiniteness in our own bodies and minds? We do it by really being tolerant of our own selves. We're taking whatever is there and building acceptance through it and around it so that we don't have walls within ourselves. And as those walls start to dissolve, then that feeling of infiniteness is what just moves through us. It was always there. So it's just you and you in this practice. There's nowhere to run to and nothing to run from. So we practice being friends with what's here right now. The you that's here right now. When we get good at that, we call it yoga. And in the middle of that, we call it yoga. And when we're not very good at it at all, but we're trying, we call it yoga. One breath at a time. Build that relationship. Close with the sound of Om, deep breath in. Om. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night, great rest of your week. I will see you soon, maybe even tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a
You're
good night.
welcome. You're welcome.